hip, tally-ho, good morning to the day, and next, my Joolz guide about Old Street and actually Hoxton. We're starting here near Old Street Station, but they're doing a whole lot of construction around there, and it's kind of horrible. So, by the way, if you like these videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, which jolly well helps me. And we're in Bunhill Cemetery. It's called Bunhill Cemetery because it's from Bone Hill. In 1549, there was a charnel house, which is where they keep the bones at St Paul's Cathedral, and they emptied some hundreds of cartloads of bones from there to here. They just chucked all the bones here, and gradually I think they dumped a load of earth on top, and it created a hill, a bone hill, hence the name Bunhill Cemetery. It was later where they used to bury quite a lot of plague victims in 1665, and it was never consecrated by the Church of England, so it became quite a popular burial ground for Anglican dissenters. There's over 12,000 graves here now, and some quite famous ones as well. Old John Bunyan, who wrote A Pilgrim's Progress, he's buried over there. They've always got loads of squirrels here, actually. It's a very good place to come and feed the squirrels. A couple of other famous people are buried here. Daniel Defoe and William Blake. This is Daniel Defoe's one, I think. Actually, besides writing Robinson Crusoe, he wrote a pamphlet about the plague, he wrote about the union of Scotland and England, and also some seditious pamphlets criticising the treatment of dissenters, religious dissenters. And then he was, because of this, he was put into the pillory, which is that one where they put your head and your hands in. Not to be mistaken with the stocks. The stocks is the one where they put your feet in and they chuck things at you.
Where did you learn that, fool?
Not in the stocks, fool.
From William Shakespeare.
Yes, King Lear. First of all, they put him in the pillory down outside Royal Exchange, which is where Bank Station is, and then they put him in the pillory down by Temple Bar, on Fleet Street. And because he had quite a lot of fans, they just came through flowers at him.
This performance here is pretty good as well, isn't it, Joolz? I honoured you with some flowers.
Vandalism is not to be encouraged, by the way. And look, William Blake, actually regarded as one of England's greatest poets and artists. O rose, thou art sick, the invisible worm that flies in the night. It's about sex, that poem, isn't it?
Out thy bed of secret joy, and your dark something bird as his life destroyed.
The hymn, Jerusalem, was actually a poem by him called Milton, I think. And did those feet in ancient times walk upon England? Actually, I've got the McDermott's 2 Hours version. You know McDermott's 2 Hours, that record that you gave me? They've got a version, it goes, and did those feet walk through the shit, strewn upon the city streets? And was the grimy lamb of the pet killed and sold as butcher's meat? And did the bloated face of power spit down upon the people's will? And was Jerusalem buried here?
The Artillery Museum is just yonder from this cemetery.
Yonder? That's an old-fashioned way of speaking, Tom.
I have to fit in.
Yonder is a perfectly good word, yonder. There's nothing on. No, I mean, how else would you describe it on the other side of that wall?
Yeah, there's a full cricket ground behind there. You wouldn't know it. Yeah.
Or is it private then?
Yeah. Maybe it's public for some things. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing the entrance is in that Castilic building, right adjacent.
What's happening? Gone back in the past.
A Castilic building? Adjacent?
This gay youth you might have seen, Tomkins and I with his girl between. Then oh, what a surprise, I praise the Conservatives' frank.
Just opposite Bunhill Cemetery, just on the other side of the road, is John Wesley's house. He was like one of the founders of Methodism. Well, it's a kind of branch of the Anglican Church. I'm no expert myself, but the church were quite picky about how people preached back in the 18th century, and he felt that he should bring the word of God to everybody, even poor people, the illiterate and stuff like that. So he travelled like 250,000 miles on horseback to preach to, everybody, so that everyone had an idea. And I might be wrong, but I think it's something like that. And they've got a church there, and they've got the museum downstairs.
I don't think you find a better 18th century townhouse than this, because it's never been bought and adapted. No walls have been knocked down, bathrooms installed. So it's very much as it was when it was built in 1779.
Excellent.
And John Wesley spent the last 11 years of his life here. Whenever he was in London, This was his home, and this is where he ate and slept.
Sorry, a mechanical
It's a mechanical horse. A mechanical horse. If you sit on it like this and go up and down on it, it exercises muscles you didn't realise you had.
What this thing?
Yeah. And this is his study. And you can see his study chair. That's the original. You can sit on it either way around. He earned a lot of money throughout his life, publishing mainly, and begging. And if he had kept it, he'd have been a multi-millionaire, but he gave it all away.
It's got his spectacles, it's got his weird machines. He had a machine to administer electric shocks to cure migraines and depression, although he didn't try it on himself until he had tried it on his flock first. Very sensible.
It's a cutting edge of technology. And if you turn the handle and hold the knob, you get a slight shock of static electricity. He wrote this book called Primitive Physics. It was for 1 and 6pence.
He was a quack, was he?
He was a quack. But a doctor complained in the press about this book. He said it's been sold by a quack who doesn't know anything about medicine. He's not a doctor. So Wesley wrote a letter back to this doctor. Dear Dr. So-and-so, I thank you for your letter. Since it was published, my bookseller informs me the sales of my book have gone up. I'll be most obliged if you could please write another letter. He didn't care. But in fact, it was a bestseller for over 100 years.
But one of the best things is over here is one of the best preserved Victorian toilets in London. It's just in here and down there, but it's probably not a good idea to film in the gents' toilets.
Hodgson's got angry so speedily, all in a moment he handed to me 2 lovely black eyes, 2 lovely black eyes. Oh, what a surprise, only for telling a man he was wrong.
So we're just walking down, what is it? Hoxton Street. Not Scruttock Street. Scruttock is that bit between your scrotum and your buttocks. Or your notcher, because it's not your arse and it's not your bollocks. Scruttock Street. No, we're going down here towards, Curtain Road, where the Curtain Theatre used to be. They've discovered this old theatre which Shakespeare used to perform at in 1570-something or other. The Mayor of London banned playhouses, and so other playhouses popped up outside the city walls, well, in areas known as liberties, sort of privately owned, where certain rules and regulations don't apply. You see this rather delightful Foxtons behind us? That is where James Burbage set up the first theatre, where William Shakespeare used to act with his acting troupe, the Lord Chamberlain's Men, I think they were called. Anyway, he used to write the plays, and he would appear in some of the plays as well. In fact, Burbage lived just in Holywell Road, which is just behind here somewhere. James was the father, and James' son, Richard, he became the lead actor in the productions, and Shakespeare wrote the plays. And then later on, they opened up the Curtain Theatre a bit further down. Anyway, eventually they had trouble with the landlord or something, and they ended up breaking down the theatre and taking the timbers over to the other side and building Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. There's so much construction around here that I'm at pains to find something nice in the background. So we've got a beautiful post box with King Edward VII's crest on it. But the reason why is I want to talk about just over there where they're doing all the digging. They've discovered the Curtain Theatre, which was the second sort of theatre. And they said this became London's first theatrical district. It was around here that Ben Jonson, who I don't know if anyone got my reference to Good Morning to the Day and Next My Gold, opened the shrine that I may see my saint, from Ben Jonson's Volpone. In 1597, he wrote a play called The Isle of Dogs, which was rather rude, and he got thrown into prison, Marshalsea prison, actually for lewd and mutinous behaviour. Anyway, his first successful play was performed there, where it says O'Shea over there, where they're digging, and Shakespeare was in the cast. And the reason why I find it interesting that there's 2 people duelling there, even though they are from Star Wars, is because Ben Jonson fought Gabriel Spencer in a duel. He was one of the actors in the play, and he killed him. But he escaped hanging by proving literacy and claiming the right of clergy to be tried in an ecclesiastic court by reading a Latin verse from the Bible or something. So they confiscated all his possessions and they branded his thumbs.
What a surprise! Only for telling a man he was wrong. Two lovely black eyes.
I should point out this whole area is extremely trendy, even though I'm just obsessed with the history of it. If you come down here, there's just loads of really cool pubs and youth hanging out, being cool and dressed in a funky way. The only other thing I have to say about this, apart from that rather beautiful electricity substation there, which is now quite a nice restaurant, was that just around the corner here was where I was invited to be a male escort once. Some fellow asked me if I wanted to be a male escort. The agency was there. A rich lady in her 50s wanted someone to go to the opera with. It got down to the last two, and then she chose the other bloke. So I didn't get the money. Anyway.
The chap I had met was a Tory true. Nothing the Liberals right could do. This was my share of that argument too. Two lovely black eyes. Two lovely black eyes.
It used to be called Hodgson Fields. That house over there, number 32, that's from like 1680s or something. And these, I love these buildings here because they're the old doors for furniture workshops and stuff like that. There used to be a lot of furniture workshops around here. But the most important building around here is, of course, the Siegfried von Underbelly, where Little Lost Lou had her album launch. Excellent. Yes, you probably heard some of her music. Yeah, if you want to buy some of it, let me know and I'll put you in touch. Or go to littlelostlou.com. Oh yeah, James Parkinson, the guy who discovered Parkinson's disease, he lived in this square. There's a plaque over there. And this fountain was donated. It would be a miracle if it worked. My goodness, what unbelievable. A fountain that actually works.
Eyes, two lovely black eyes. Oh, what a surprise. Only for telling a man he was wrong. Two lovely black eyes.
I do like lugubrious building. These rather imposing structures. That used to be Shoreditch Town Hall. It's now just a venue. You can hire it for performances and stuff. They're so nice though, those sorts of places. Just behind it, that's St Leonard's Shoreditch. As in, when will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch. And I think they refer to it as an actor's church because James Burbage is buried there. Gabriel Spencer, the guy who was killed by Ben Jonson in the duel. It was also where Mary Jane Kelly's funeral left from. She was the last victim of Jack the Ripper. See my other video with music by Little Lost Lou.
Mary Jane Kelly, so pretty and dead, lying alone on your single bed. Your ghost is still screaming as I killed you. I said, my name is Jack the Ripper, but you don't know who I am.
The moral you've caught I can hardly doubt.
This is actually the street where Richard Ashcroft walks up when he's in Bittersweet Symphony video and he's like bumping into everyone. Bittersweet Symphony. Hoxton Hall, which is one of two remaining Victorian music halls in London. It's really wonderful inside. Let's go and have a look inside. It's really superb.
It was built in 1863 and it's been a musical for quite a long time now. It changes purpose throughout the years, but we've been here since Victorian era really. We host a youth arts program every week, and then we also have a mixed program of theatre and music performances in the theatre itself. We can also hire the theatre for like private parties and corporate events. Yes.
Fantastic, because
Yes.
it's a wonderful space.
It's
It
one
really
actually. It's one of the few musical left in the UK. There's just 5 Victorian musical left, about from like 10,000 from the period, and we're one of them.
Over here, near the Hoxton Market, is a very curious shop, popular with children. It's called the Hoxton Street Monster Supplies Shop. Hello.
Hi, welcome to Hoxton Street Monster Supplies. Our shop was founded 200 years ago by a monster named Igor. He came over to London, he saw there was no shop for monsters, and so he decided he needed to serve the monster community. So he set up this shop, and 10 years ago a curse was put upon the monster shop, which meant it then became visible to humans. Bottom 3 shelves are for humans and monsters. The top shelf, I would need to see a valid death certificate of over 200 years if you wanted to shop there. We've then obviously got pickled eyeballs, which is for more of the human eating monsters that still want to be good neighbours, so they can come in here and pick up a snack at any time. My personal favourite product is the thickest human snot. We harvest that every autumn. It's then barrel aged over the winter, and then we jar it up for the next summer's stock, and that's really high quality. So again, that's a top selling product.
Yeah, I got a fair bit of that. Yeah.
Great, we should come in and make a donation at any time. Monsters were crying out for a way to communicate with humans, so we set up the Monster Postal Service, and 6 lonely monsters wrote letters to basically anyone who wanted to reply. So you can come in here and reply to any one of these 6 letters, and then you will receive a personalised response from one of our monsters. So that's Pudding the Gremlin. She lives in a wardrobe. Well, my favourite monster is Betty the Yeti, who sends her letter all the way from the Himalayas. So a charity for children who wanted to write magically appeared behind the secret door, and now all of the profits from the shop support that charity, the Ministry of Stories. So the charity helps children to tell stories and gives them fun ways to explore their imagination and creativity.
That's
so all
excellent.
of the profits from our shop support the charity.
We need more of that. Yes, more kids writing stories.
Absolutely.
Fresh farts. We used to do that on our geography field trips. We used to, so you have to go around and collect something like frogs or something in a jar. But if you had an opaque jar, the teacher wouldn't know if there was anything in it. So you'd fart into the jar, right? To put the lid on, and then you go, "Oh, sir, look, I've found something in here." And then you open up the jar and go, "Sorry, very childish." Of course, you probably didn't go to the same school as me. Can I get something to eat?
I would recommend that you head over to the pie and mash shop and get yourself a jellied eel.
Yeah, now this is the place she was talking about. You can't get any more East End than pie and mash, although I had pie and mash in the other one in Bethnal Green, so I'm thinking I may just have to bite the bullet and have a jellied eel. All the beaches aren't like Blackpool, you can't buy jellied eel. And I have trouble recognising my British sex appeal.
Lovely.
Do you know that song, Willie the Whinging Pom? Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, goodness. What is a jellied eel anyway? Look at that, look, what is it? What kind of
fish?
What?
It's a fish.
Yeah, I know what an eel is, but what's the jelly that it's in? It's just like,
just gelatine.
Gelatine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice.
Come here often?
Once a month, yeah.
What's the sawdust on the floor for?
When someone gets knocked out.
Yeah?
Two lovely black eyes. Oh, what a surprise.
They say that this is for when people used to spit their bones on the floor, but the bloke at the counter seems to think differently.
Only for telling a man he was wrong. Two lovely black eyes.
They're pretty good actually. Yeah, quite nice that. Eel, never eaten eel before, but that is good. I don't quite see the need for the jelly around it, but I'm sure it has some purpose. So I recommend this place now.
Ah, thank you.
Actually, having never been here. I'm not much of a Cockney, am I?
For me, I'm born in Barts.
Barts?
Yeah, Barts Hospital.
Oh yeah, where Sherlock Holmes jumped off the roof.
Yes, and I'm a proper Cockney, as they say.
Yeah, you really are. Born within the sound of the Bow Bell.
Yeah.
Just ignore me. Pie, mash, and they call that's not gravy. If you say gravy, they get really angry with doing it. Liquor. What's in liquor then?
Parsley, flour, salt and water.
But don't say gravy.
Gravy isn't traditional. What gravy you do get is in the pies, and then obviously it's liquor.
Ah, liquor. Yeah. Liquor. Poker in the front, liquor in the rear. Is that, you should have a sign. How long have you been coming here?
Me? Well, I'm 90 now.
90?
So just imagine how long I've been in Hoxton. Right, all my life.
You've been living in Hoxton your whole life?
Yeah.
What have you bought?
Hot eels.
Eels?
Yeah, not jelly, hot eels.
Oh, okay.
Stewed eels.
You can have them without the jelly then?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I ain't from around these parts, you can tell, can't you?
I know it's the way you dress and all. I don't know what that's for. So not from round here. Who could be off of it?
I was trying to. I'm trying to dress. I watched Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, and I thought that's how Cockneys dress.
Well, that's how you look.
Well,
Van Dyke, the chimney sweeper.
thanks.
Lovely to meet
Yeah,
you.
nice to meet you too.
Information you needed.
But they laugh when I go a-walking in me sandals and me socks, and me suit from Savile Row, you know, and me Marks and Spencer's jocks. I'm Willie the Whinging Pom. Guess where I come from? I went down under from the old UK, and I much prefer the British way. Yes, rule Britannia. I'm Willie the Whinging Pom. Cheers everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to subscribe to my Instagram account as well, at Joolz Guides. And if you want a private guided tour around London, then you can go over to my website, joolzguides.com, where you can contact me on the contact form. Cheers. Cheers with your plastic glass. Cheers.
Lovely black